struggles with sort of mental health or particularly sort of depression has been something that I've had sort of since I was sort of 13 or 14, and that's been something that, yeah, sort of, you know, for over half my life now, sort of, yeah, lived with.
People who have a single episode of depression, unfortunately, are likely to go on and have a future episode. And both for the patient and also for the doctor or psychologist looking after them, those changes are quite difficult to gauge. You don't actually know when you see someone in the clinic, you know, how well are you? There's not a sort of a specific single way of taking the patient's temperature. So what we're trying to do with RADAR is using these sensors to be able to see if you can actually get a better indication of the person's state at a point in time.
So we started off dedicating a huge amount of time to designing the right kind of study, designing a study that patients would find acceptable and want to engage with for long periods of time, and making sure that the devices and the apps that we were intending to use were fit for purpose, measured what we wanted to be measuring. We did a long period of data collection. Our first participants were enrolled in November 2017, and we finished our data collection in March 2021. So in the last year, we've now moved on to our data analysis phase, where we've collected all the data we're going to have, and we're now cleaning it, processing it, and preparing to analyse it for our main research questions. And we've got some really exciting results. We've been able to show that it's feasible to recruit people into these kinds of studies, even those who are severely depressed. And we've collected a huge amount of qualitative information from interviewing our participants to help us understand what we could have done better and what we could do better next time round, because this is just the beginning of this research field, I think. We've published some studies linking the data that we've been collecting via the devices with depression outcomes, with functional status, with a whole load of outcomes that are important to the patient group and important to clinicians as well. And we're now moving on to sort of predictive analyses. So can we potentially tell someone in advance when they are at risk of having a relapse, so that they have the opportunity to prevent it or seek help in time to get extra support.
Rather than asking a patient to reflect back over 2 weeks on what their depression status has been, which we know is likely to involve inaccuracies, actually with the behavioural data from the wearable device and from their smartphone, again we can get a more longitudinal view of what their condition is and how it's changing. And that data could be sent straight to a clinician's computer so that they can view that data and really say, okay, well, I can see how your condition is progressing or changing or staying the same. And that can really help to inform clinical decision making and help improve a patient's condition or improve the support that they get from their clinical team.
So if this is able to sort of, you know, spot and say, look, your sleep's a bit down, you're not walking as much, you haven't been calling people as much, that's possibly a sign that you are withdrawing, you know, you're not doing as much, you haven't got as much energy. It's that sort of self-management, and it's kind of like a sort of way of spotting the signs, because we don't always put those together.
This kind of data collection has huge potential for research methods. A huge amount of guesswork goes into understanding how someone has changed since the last time you saw them. So having this glimpse into the time frame in between your assessments is invaluable for researchers, invaluable for clinicians, in a way that is really much more acceptable to participants than having to do lengthy questionnaires again and again. So in a research context, the way we measure things it's going to drastically change how we do that. From a clinical perspective, allowing people to self-manage, giving people more information about themselves, combining this complex sensor data into a personalized picture. You can see in real time the impact that your therapy is having on their cognitions, on their behaviors, on the exact things that you are trying to target. So the opportunity to really tailor the support that we can provide our patients, I think, is immense.